Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Skip.
What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?
Oh, my controller just fell. We're fine.
Well, I should actually put the show notes on the correct monitor then if we're doing this. Okay. I have the notes up by the way, so when you're ready. Two.
Welcome everyone to the 5th anniversary of this boondoggle that Mike and I have spent way too much time on.
So to put into perspective, let's think, right? 5 years ago today? Is it like literally the 5th, just to clarify at the time of doing this?
Let me tell you exactly when the first episode was. Episode 1 of the SWW show was August 29th, 2018.
So we barely missed it. I mean barely.
Yeah, by the way, this isn't the podcast yet. This is just intro in the stream.
We're just introing to how we get there? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
so
waiting for your vacuuming to...
Ah, that makes sense. That's fair, that's fair. But I think I'm in the mainstream. Yeah, waiting says yeah. Yeah, so to be like, you came to me with this, right? Because we hadn't done our stuff for a while. And you went, let's do this thing like once, twice a month. And I was like, okay, fine. We can do that. And
well,
here we
so
are.
we'll get into it in the podcast because I genuinely want the podcast that we're going to record while we've got Sea of Thieves going on in the background. We're just going to frog around in Sea of Thieves.
And
Nothing too crazy. We might
because I need also to move. Yeah, keep us going.
We might start more of the of this if it's even.
It comes out today or yesterday. It's like right now, somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say that's a negative because it's just the journey to Melee Island, which was the first one.
Okay.
Looking to see the world? Come back when we're open.
So, yeah. I think we'll just go from where we're at, because it's really not that important. So, but yeah, we'll get into, when we record the podcast, kind of like the vision that, well, we're going to have to start from the very beginning, you know that, right? Like,
the year was 1996.
not
The
that,
hospital.
Not that early.
Oh, never mind. I misunderstood what you're asking.
But the year was, I believe, 2013, if I remember right.
No, it was 15.
Was it 15?
It was 15.
Sure.
100%.
Okay.
I think we're ready. By the way, it might be a little. There's a little noise in my phone. But I think it's getting quieter.
It's definitely getting quieter.
So.
I'm just finishing up sorting stuff, sorting the cannonballs and stuff. Because I'm one of those weirdos that I like everything to be organized in this game. So then you can just know. It's just
You're
like,
a crazy person. We know that.
it's just like, oh yeah, the top cannonball case is regular cannonballs.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom one is all the funky ones.
Right.
And then that way you just know, okay, if we get in a battle, you just go to the top one. But, yeah, so we'll cover that. We'll cover some of our favorite moments. I think we go to, you know, when you and I met. So back in our first thing, like, I think we can include that for our favorite moments. Because there's a few that I remember from that project that are just fun little references that you and I will have a good time with, but no one else will maybe 2 other people will get the reference. But yeah, and we'll cover like the different events that we've gone to in person, the different cons and events like that. Let's just head. Just put Canyon Cove as a destination. We probably don't want to be in the wilds if we're going to be
Sure.
farting around, so. Just kind of in that general direction. What else should we cover? Like,
I think you've covered it well. I also think we're ready if you feel like ready.
okay, yeah, I'm gonna kill the. That's right, wrong button. This one. Audio master. We're gonna turn it down to 5. And then over here. So it's going to be 58. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 58 of the SWW show. That's right, we're closing in on 60. The other thing we're closing in on, we just hit our 5th anniversary.
Well, that's like 5 kids worth of time.
Yeah, to little fanfare. If you hear water noises, we are recording this podcast live as we stream on a Wednesday night. The stream is more or less the 5th year anniversary. It's off by a day, but close enough. And so we don't have much to talk about. There's some new stuff that we'll get to towards the end, but we just wanted to go over like memories and highlights of the 5. Well, you and I have known each other for closer to 8 years, but
yeah, I'd be about that.
Do we just start at the beginning? I guess.
So the year was 1996.
Not that far back.
Damn.
The year was 2015. Apparently, I thought it was
Yes.
2013 because I was still in college, but I guess it was my second year. And shit, I don't even remember. I think it was on Facebook.
Correct. This sounds right.
I saw something advertised, and I was like, sure, like, I'll write about video games. Like, I like talking about video games to myself. Like, there were very few people in my high school that I played games with. So, you know, it wasn't anything, like, too crazy or, you know, kind of earth-shattering in terms of, like, oh, hey, you're going to be doing this, and it's going to get me a job writing for games. I was like, in the worst case, right, like, I'll write, and then it's just, like, something I can add in my portfolio, which I ended up doing. I ended up using some of those articles that I wrote in one of my writing portfolios. And with that first project, Mike and I became good friends because we were similar in age. And
Age, location. Yeah, it was a kind of a
age,
good storm.
location. Like, we were the 2 young guys of the group. I think one of them might have been a little bit younger than us, but either way, like, it was super close in age, so it wasn't anything to, you know. There was like a 10, maybe 15-year age gap between us and then the next guys. And so we started doing a movie podcast. Not too dissimilar to what the movie section of
The one thing,
Stove
the
is.
thing I missed from it was we were able to do the weekly box office stuff, and then we just can't because monthly box office are inherently less fun.
Oh, yeah, we would do weekly box office guessing. Funnily enough, I was on Twitter, and people will like draft movies,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, we kind of used to do that back on that show.
We totally ranked the top 3, or we thought some. I think we had something
Yeah, we
about,
would
like,
we
who
would
did
take
the best.
guesses and things like that. Like, it wasn't too crazy. Like, we weren't going, oh hey, I won the
But
box office.
in this
week."
era, we totally could have done it.
Yeah. And then, so that was pretty fun. You got to do a press screening of Captain America. I think it was Civil War.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time I ever got to edit a recorded review. Like, so I was doing a video review. You did the voiceover for it, and I got to use all of the like press kit stuff.
EPK stuff, yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. Then we made the biggest regret in our lives and joined a D&D campaign.
There was some fun in it. I think there was a large concept of fun, and then I think there was a tiny bit of chaos. Scheduling's also inherently a problem. Is like one of the biggest problems.
There was I shit you not. I don't know if it's still up. I haven't kept in contact.
If anyone has them, it would be me. If anyone has those archives.
There's an episode where I think it was 3 hours. We started it at like 4 in the afternoon.
Know if you remember how I did it instead. So there were 3 hours like functionally from our end, but I did it in 40-minute chunks, and I would actually cut in and like cut out the like dry space to like kind of speed it up. So like that 3 hour for us was probably 2 hours of the thing, but like that'd be like 2 or 3 episodes at least of stuff. But it was still like every few weeks. I
distinctly remember there was an episode where like it normally would have been done like just before dinner, so I could have dinner with my family. This episode, we did jack shit. I think it was 3 hours of literally 2 guys getting outfits. And I sat there on mute on a like Google call. My mom came down at like 6:30 and was like, "Are you wrapping up?" I'm like, "I have no idea." I think we went for another hour and a half. And the DM literally like texted me or sent me a message, and he's like, "I'm sorry, like I should have been, a better DM and kept you involved and things like that." And I'm like, that moment, and the reason that I bring it up, right, is that is the moment where I decided I wanted to do something else. Right, like I wanted to go and do a different project. And it just so happened that Mike was kind of in the same position. And I don't remember exactly how long it was between that episode and like when you left and then I left shortly thereafter.
I was about to say within the year-ish is my guess.
I think it was within 6 months. Like it was pretty quick. And like that was so dysfunctional. Like literally I had to get on a video call the day before Thanksgiving. I'm in Florida at a dinner, and the guy that's like running the thing is like, "You need to be on this call or I'll assume that you're done." And I told everyone like, "Hey, I'm on vacation." So like I literally joined the call, mute myself, and I'm there out by the pool. And I'm just listening to this. Like jack shit got done. Like surprise, surprise. And I was just like, this is just ridiculous. Like you're trying to hold an all hands the day before Thanksgiving, and you think it's like people are just gonna drop their plans for you. So that was kind of the real turning point for me. And then the D&D thing happened. We had an episode that we recorded where one of our guys broke an embargo,
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
and we're recording that, and we end the recording like 10 seconds later. I go, we have to edit this. I have to edit this tonight because you broke embargo. He's like, I don't think I did. Like, I'm pretty sure I didn't. And then I literally read the embargo out to him. Like, we can't talk about this. I don't even remember what it was, but I was like, yeah, we can't be talking about that we played this game. At least not yet.
That's so good.
And so yeah, you and I had this decision to go leave and then kind of stay out of it. It was like a couple months.
Yeah, it was a good sort of change in between, I think, the full and beginning.
Well, it was several months between us leaving and me going, hey, I kind of want to do something again. Like, something small, just you and I, and we'll just, figure it out.
That's
And
how
then-
this was born.
Yeah, then that's how SWW was born. Obviously, some might want to know what SWW stands for. It's literally shit we watched. Like, I always joked, that I wanted something like a CNN, right? I wanted a 3-letter network. Because that's how you know you made it in TV, is you have a 3-letter network. And so, yeah, that's literally what it means. SWW means shit we watched. No big meaning behind it other than that. And yeah, we're now 5 years pretty
Deep.
much after that. I do have to ask, what was your favorite moment of the past 5 years? And it doesn't have to be just one, right? Like, I've got a couple.
We did have Columbus, that was good.
Yeah, GDEX was an experience because, like, for me, I don't know about you, for me it was the first time, granted the group wasn't that big, but it was the first time speaking in front of a group of people that I had no idea who they were. Right, like every other public speaking engagement that I had done previous was either like school or I knew the people.
Right.
So this is a very unique opportunity for me. That's where we learned of Choco Taco, the streamer, who I believe is on Kick now, if I remember right.
God.
I did look into him like within the past year and a half.
Remember, we were like, who is this guy?
Yeah, we're literally sitting there going like, who is Choco? And we're in the green room, and he's sitting there with like, he's in front of us, and he's got like 2 of his buddies. And it almost sounded like his friends didn't really know either.
God, it was so good.
But then we found out he was like some streamer from the Chicagoland area,
And you stared at me like I should know who he is.
well, I didn't. I was just staring at you like, oh, this dude's
Okay, Chief,
too big for his
and then-
britches.
but then now we get stuff like all these VTubers now, and we'll be like, who is this? Like,
I mean, I don't have a problem with VTubers. I never really have, because I think it's an interesting idea. Right?
but anyone we know would be like, who's watching this?
Oh yeah, I would ask, why is anyone watching this? I think it's a very interesting, like, the idea of trying to be a VTuber is very interesting to me. Not that I would ever want to do it, but like, that's, it's taking like BPD and monetizing it. But yeah, we had Columbus. Columbus was good.
Like there's some other stuff I think that kind of stands out always.
Yeah. That was the big one for like.
We
show.
did Extra Life in 2019. I like that one.
Yeah, we did Extra Life. That was. Extra Life 2019 was really fun. Extra Life 21 or 22, whatever year that was, where I did 2 12-hour streams in back-to-back weeks because the company that I work for wanted to do something to, like, the week after Extra Life. I was like, good God. Like, good thing Battlefield dropped that day so it could keep me busy. But yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of the big stuff there. Trying to pull up the big thing I want to say, so obviously we have some highs, some lows. The thing I want to start with, when we think movie club, what to you stands out without looking? I want to pull up some highlights while we're doing that.
Yeah.
What to you's like a good that stands out that you remember and a bad that stands out?
I think a good that stands out is Fury Road. We did that when we were doing, like, the new and the old.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I first saw Fury Road, it was as just like a, fan of the movie. It wasn't like with a critical lens. And then I got to go back and watch it with a critical lens. And that movie just stands up. It's so good. I think Dune is one of my favorites. Worst though, White Boy Rick. Like, it's so hard to not pick that.
First off, there is one movie that's worse. I need to find the name of it. What was that movie? The one with the wives of the mobsters?
Oh, I mean that was bad, but it felt like they knew it was going to be bad.
Widows.
Widows, yeah. Yeah, that was bad. It felt like they may have known it was going to be bad, and they just kind of resigned themselves to that.
Do you really think Steve McQueen thought it was going to be bad?
I mean, it at least tried to have some fun at times. White Boy Rick was trying to be so serious. Yeah, that was by far my least favorite one.
I'm trying to think what other ones kind of stand out, kind of looking to me. Do you have any other ones that were like just so disgusting that we were like? I think we at least had like, I feel like the compliment of the movies we picked a lot of times were like, even if we were neutral on them, at least we were neutral on them.
Yeah, we never really went into them going, we're not gonna like this. Like, we always wanted to do it as we'd at least enjoy it. Mm-hmm. At the very least, we would enjoy the movies for Movie Club.
Especially during pandemic, and we kind of had to like be like, we just need anything.
Well, when we were doing the watch-alongs, right? Like, we did that for Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
Snyder's Justice League cut. And, yeah, that was one where it's just like, we hated the first Justice League because it just felt so dysfunctional. And you're like, okay, well, we'll give this one a chance, right? Because supposedly this helps fix a lot of stuff. And it kind of did, like, I'm not saying it was a masterpiece afterwards, but...
Also, I want to point out, I found actually what I'm going to end this topic on, which is going to be my favorite episode of Movie Club that I forgot we did.
What's that?
The double Sonic episode, where we had to sit down and watch the 90s Sonic cartoon movie.
Yeah, I mean, at least it was backed with, the movie Sonic that
Which was
pretty good.
way better than we had any right for it to be.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest surprise, right? Like
that or even Detective Pikachu, which I think is one of the ones we did too.
No, I don't think we did that.
Did I just watch it on that? Okay.
Yeah.
But no, like that's fair. That of ones we did, yeah, I think that has to be the biggest surprise. Going the correct way. I think we had bigger surprises that were bad, but I think that was the biggest surprise of it being good.
Yeah, White Boy Rick is the biggest surprise for being bad because the cast was kind of stacked.
Yeah, like on paper, it's a really good cast.
Yeah.
I think people behind it were good. The topic's interesting, like legitimately.
Yeah. Yeah, telling someone that that is a true story and then ruining it with the dumb shit that they did, which is kind of sad.
Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, that's kind of. But yeah, this is our fifth, but we still got normal stuff to do too.
Well,
Jumping
hold on,
in-
before we do this,
Okay.
before we keep
Jump
going,
to big stuff.
yeah, what's your favorite interview we've done?
I like our girlfriend Dragon Slumber. Right? We've talked to Kevin a bunch.
Yeah.
I think the one that I really liked, that was the one that got lost that you had to redo, which is when we talked to Behind Airborne Kingdom. And that was when I found out that he worked on like Mass Effect and stuff. But that was the one that you had to do the whole one, and that would turn out somehow you guys start with NASCAR for like 40 minutes or F1 for like 40 minutes in the interview.
Oh,
It's really
yeah, the
cool
dude's
story.
from, like, Toronto and lived in
Yeah.
Montreal for a couple of years. Yeah. Yeah.
I
That
think
was a fun one. That was really fun because, like, okay, you worked on Mass Effect. Cool. What else did you do? Oh, you used to go to the IndyCar race in Toronto. That's awesome. I love IndyCar. And then he's like, where do you live? And I'm like, I live in Michigan. He's like, that's awesome. Like, you're super close.
No,
And we just, like, broed out for, like, 40 minutes.
So one of the things I miss around early pandemic relating to all this is that there was this really weird ecosystem of VC funding, and this has a lot of self-funding indies at the time because they got laid off. And it was easy access to talk to these really cool people that we've kind of lost over the last few years just because like those studios become more developed. Where like he was the only one where like you talk to be like, oh yeah, we just left this studio, or you heard these stories. Like there was a bunch of those that era that like we talked to also because they were just brand new.
Yeah. I mean, probably the one that, like, if I had to tell someone, like, hey, we got this interview, it's the golf story. Or no, What the Golf.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's a great example of that.
We landed the What the Golf interview, like, was it the week before it was announced for Apple Arcade?
It was like a week or two before, and it was like all of a sudden I'm like, wow, that's gonna be big. And then literally know how big it would be. Like at the time, I'm like, oh, it's big, but like, okay, there's 20 games here. And then it turned into like this VR game, like what the car, like. No, you say that. The other one is Blazeball. The other one is I talked to them, and it wasn't for Blazeball, it was for the Steam port of the other games, and I went, oh my god, I didn't even process their name.
The Blazeball interview was fun because that was a video one. And it's always fun to get video interviews if we can.
It has to be the right person, I always say, and stuff to make it work. Like, there's a lot of, like, things, because just video is so much harder.
It is, but also, like, it's a way better connection.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, how many of those interviews did I do that where, like, I was literally in gym shorts and maybe a hoodie if I was wearing a shirt at all. Like,
And that was with video on.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's big stuff for me. Let's jump to it. I'm formally done with Diablo 4. Breaking point for me on this game. You ready? I am that second to final difficulty level. So the one, but I need to be like a few more actual levels to unlock the final one. And I have completed every dungeon in the game.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about this last week.
So like, literally is to the point where, like, I could reset the dungeons to re-level, but like, you see how that's inefficient and it seems like not a good balance system. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like I
that's a
should be able to
little
complete. I shouldn't be able to complete the content on the level before without reasonably getting to that level and probably above that level. Right, this is level 70. If you said this tier of difficulty got me to level 75 and I was kind of capped, I get that, right? Like, there's some number, but like, it should get me to that point for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you were telling me this last week, like, you know, I was like, dude, look at how Destiny handles it, right? Like, when Destiny still had levels, right? And they still kind of do in a way, like, the light stuff is level-ish. Level light, if you will. Not as a joke, but, like, You know what I mean? That you were at the cap without having to do everything. Which made that game great because you're like, okay, I'm not a fan of doing Crucible. Cool, you don't have to do Crucible to hit the level cap. Or you're like, I love Crucible. Well, you could hit level cap in Crucible without really touching the story. Now, granted, you would have to do some of that stuff to like get better weapons, but also you were getting weapons through Crucible. So, yeah, the fact that a game doesn't let you progress.
Well, like it does, but you can see where like it becomes this level of tedious and repeating content. I go, there's no point for this content to be repeated conceptually.
Well, that's what I mean, right? Like, it doesn't let you progress without having to repeat content that you've already done.
Right, it's not like for specific drops even. It's just for because I need XP.
Yeah. It would be different if it's like, hey, this, for example, with Destiny, right? Like, this quest is like almost guaranteed to get you this legendary weapon.
Or
And
put in
people
these
would just
systems
roam.
of like, oh, now you run these X dungeons to get X things, right? Like put in these systems, I think are better. But yeah, China being a big thing. The other thing that I've been playing, which is I think the game I'm talking about right now, is Baldur's Gate 3. I am 12 hours in the game, something like that. Honestly, I think games neat as hell. I think it does kind of what everyone's talking about. This is for revival CRPGs. I like how it plays both kind of super well on the PC, or if I use it on my Steam Deck, it eats the battery up, but it just plays super well. So that's gonna be a really good like travel game, I think, for me.
It has been interesting to see the discourse on that game change as more people are hitting that Act 3.
No, that's valid. Like I'm not saying it's bug free, but like
Yeah.
it's not like they're fixing it. I think by the time I get to Act 3, it'll be fine. But it's also just like the first act is where I'm at still. And that's legitimately, I've had like some bugs where I have to like reload it, but like you reload it, it fixes it, and you can save, and it's like not a true bug, it's like a combat bug.
Right.
But like otherwise, it's been surprisingly well. And if you think about like how intense this is and it's running on that Steam Deck, I'm really impressed with that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's cool, right? Like, it's always fun when nerd games work.
Right,
They
and
work
nerd games
well.
work. Yeah, and like they don't always hit. It reminds me of like how much like Skyrim hit. Like if you go back a little bit 10 years ago, right? Like
Yeah,
it
but
broke.
Skyrim wasn't a true nerd game. Right, like, it developed a...
But the past ones were, and I think that's
Oh,
that too.
yes, like, the original Elder Scrolls, like, the first 3,
Right.
are so nerdy.
Like that's what's wild. Like sure that one became, but like it's not like its roots aren't.
Yeah.
So like going into it, it would be the same expectation, or at least that was one of the complaints if you look at it too. For a lot of people, were like it's not deep enough.
What, you're telling me you don't want to load a house with 8,000 wheels of cheese?
Hey, I don't have a problem with that one.
I think I played that game... I played that game for like 5 hours.
Oh, I have the platinum in it. I've done the whole shebang.
I got to a certain point in that game where I was just like, I don't care. Which,
But
like, that's a huge thing for me. Like, I'll play bad games, like, and you know this. Like, I'll play games that do not deserve my time of day.
oh, we know.
But if there's some fun there, I'm cool with it. And I'll enjoy it as much as I can. With Skyrim, I just remember being like frustrated once I hit the point of like, oh, your next thing is literally across the map. And I'm like, why isn't there something in between? Right? Put a big side quest, put something in between where I'm at and the next main quest. The way that, Fallout games kind of nailed it in a sense. Like, they give you just ultimate, like, hey, this map has a shit ton of icons, and it's what makes Ubisoft games work. Like, Ubi games work because you're going from one thing to another.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're constantly bouncing between missions and side quests, and to me, it's what made the original Sleeping Dogs work. Or, sorry, not Sleeping Dogs, Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs was like, oh, I'm driving to the next main thing, and, I forget, CTOS scanner thing is like, hey, there's this crime that's going to potentially start. And you got to break some of that stuff up, or you got to just murk dudes for not fun, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like enjoyment there. Whereas yeah, Skyrim was just like, okay, have fun walking across the map because I don't know if I had my horse yet. It was not fun. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
good to
Baldur's
see,
Gate.
like I said, it's good to see these nerd games.
Other thing with Baldur's Gate, which I find interesting. So it's a free roam game, right? So you walk around, companions walk with you, happens. Out of combat, there's still a turn-based mode, which lets me kind of de-identify the like movement and stuff. So that's how you do stuff like stealth mechanics or sneaking around or kind of making people in certain positions when you're out of combat. So that way, kind of, they're separate if you want them out of combat, and they can be out of combat separately, and all that too, which I think is a very interesting kind of like D&D-ish. So if I put half my squad in one spot, half in the other, one could be in this turn-based mode, and the other could just be walking around the world and then eventually joining into the combat.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting kind of systems there at play that I think are surprising how well they work. Even with the bugs that we found, like,
Yeah.
they still work really well, and I think it's like as close to, it's a CRPG, and it's as close to something you get as like simi games that we've gotten recently, kind of. So
I will say it is funny to listen to Vinny on Nextlander just gush about the crazy stuff he's able to do in Baldur's Gate, and then Bailey from Fandom, who's been on Giant Bombcast recently, and is behind Honest Game Trailers, be like, I lost 6 hours of game progress because I was trying to have sex with a bear, didn't realize that it was locked behind a thing, because obviously they need it for the video. And then she's like, it's just, like, shit just breaks at times. And I'm like, that doesn't sound fun.
it does, but I feel like if, as long as you're like doing saves normal like you would in any open world game, like that's a you're being an idiot if it really breaks to that level, kind of like how you're not doing something that triggers an autosave at some point.
But I think part of it too was like the further she got in, like the worse it was running.
Mm.
So it was one of those where it just took forever. So
Okay. We'll see. And says lastly here that you have been playing Madden.
that I have Madden
Tell us about the
24.
footballs.
I saw a review that summed it up perfectly. The on the field product is amazing. I'm really looking forward to how they develop this tech from here on out. It's really, really cool. All of the other stuff is so broken it's not even funny.
Really?
Yeah. You're just like, you're telling me it's been 30 some odd years and you still can't figure out like how to make a franchise season sim fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it still takes fucking forever to sim a season in franchise mode. Whereas, like, granted, they're spreadsheet games, but, like, the manager games, you know, football and hockey and basketball managers, it takes, like, a minute
Really?
to sim a season. It's really fast. And I'm like, it's no different, right? It's just dice rolls in the background. And I was like, how does it seriously take you guys this long to do this when this game that's using the exact same tech, right? Like, when it comes down to it, it's all the same. In the back end, there are able to do it and spit it out in such a short amount of time. It's just stupid. The career mode took a huge step back. Because, they used to have that long shot, like, mode. Where it's like, hey, you're playing a character. And the first one was way better, than anything else they'd ever done. The first long shot. Because it was, you are this quarterback, like, they took a lot of the player, not freedom, but a lot of the extra stuff that you could do. They took a lot of that out. Like, it was a pre-made face, right, and hair and things like that. This is just, there's like quarterback, running back, wide receiver, corner, and linebacker, I believe, are the different career paths you can take. Because it all ties into the 1v1 showdown mode. So it's like, that's your created player that you use in showdown mode. And so you can kind of, if you want to be able to kind of create space, maybe you want to be a running back or a wide receiver. Otherwise, you're going to be a quarterback. And it's like, everyone's going to choose quarterback because the actual, like, playing the NFL football, not the showdown stuff, you want to be the quarterback because you're in every play. Right? Like, the fact
Yeah, if you're in, like, special teams, like, I'm assuming you play, like, you really don't do much.
Well, if you were a running back, depending on the offense, half to 2/3 of your plays you could just be blocking. Right? So you're just doing nothing. Same with wide receiver. Like, you can run the route every play, but, even if you call for the ball, they won't always give it to you. So I was like, I'm just going to choose quarterback because it's just easy. It's just easy to play. The game's still super frustrating, though. So, yeah.
Nice. But yeah, that is all of the games. For what we've seen, I'm going to start with you this time. Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit.
Yes.
That's not the Amazon one? Which I do not know which Jack Ryan this is.
Chris Pine, 2014. Directed by Kenneth Branagh, who's also the bad guy. Feels like they wanted to use this as the start of a potential franchise and didn't.
Why do you think they didn't?
I don't think it did very well at the box office. Which is crazy because Tom Clancy projects don't do that well, like, money-wise. But people love working on them. So, by the way, are you on the boat?
No, I disconnected like a few minutes ago. I was just kind of letting us talk for a minute, so.
Okay. Sorry to get you invited back in.
Yeah, we need to do that. But yeah, no, like, interesting. But but they always want all of those to be franchises, right? Because, like, that seems like it seems like a machine that is surprisingly not a good money machine. Like, I would expect it to be a better.
Yeah, it's kind of tough, right? Like, because how do you monetize to the full extent something that is inherently violent, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the Tom Clancy stuff is obviously rah rah America, which why that doesn't do better now, I have no idea. Um, Considering about 53% of this country think we should have rah rah America, who's currently awaiting a trial in Georgia, um, to run this
I think we
country.
know your opinion on this.
My problem is with the man, not with the party. Um,
No, just like your subtlety of that one.
yeah,
Go on.
yeah. You know why it's not more successful. They should be making like movies out the essence. Obviously, now that Amazon owns the property, it's a little tough because you're limited to.
Do they own the entire property or just the rights to their show?
I believe it's the entire thing because they did a movie with Michael B. Jordan
Right, they did.
called Without Remorse, and it's a Tom Clancy project, and people just forget about it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad because it was not terrible, which is saying a lot for Amazon movies.
Okay, so you know what? Amazon movies, I'm at least gonna give a comment of they're really good at knowing when their film should go to theaters because that means it's at least they understand it's okay. And I go, okay, it's worth watching even if it's at home.
Well, I
'Cause,
think
like, the
more
bad
what they
ones,
do
they
is
don't.
even the ones that go to theater, they're Amazon productions in the sense that they're the ones distributing it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But they're not
Amazon original movies kind of suck ass.
Yeah, which is funny because Netflix isn't much better, but they're better.
Netflix is only better because they know that they can't make complete and utter shit, otherwise people will leave. Amazon realizes that they're Amazon, and what the fuck are you
And
gonna
everyone forgets they have the service anyway.
Yeah. It's like everyone pays for Prime anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
And Prime, like, sure, it like went up in price like 2 years ago, but it barely does compared to somehow everything else in the world. So
I mean, on a per month rate, Netflix still screws over people when it does raises, which is incredible to me. But
So yeah. The only thing I want to shout out here is I saw the new Turtles movie in theaters, and I want to honestly say, and I'm not kidding, ignore me as Turtles person, one of the best films of the year. I think legitimately from both an animated point of view, where it probably should top that chart, or it's gonna fight. I think it's gonna fight Spider-Verse, obviously, and Spider-Verse probably will win, but I actually don't know if I would agree with it. And then I think it tells a coherent story, does like the like family portions really well, and still treats itself as a comedy, which like when you get darker with this type of property, because properties we tend to be critiquing of. So I think they found a good balance of that, also.
that's good to
And
hear.
honestly, the art style I think is really cool, which I think when everyone's love of Spider Verse shouldn't shock anyone that it's similar art style.
Yeah, I'm really worried that Spider-Verse is going to create, like, people that think, oh, we can just use this art style and it's going to hit. Because then it's just going to get overplayed. And the worst thing that
I
can happen
think
is
I
for
still
something-
think legitimately it would take a while for that to happen, just because like you're still gonna have enough people on like the Pixar DreamWorks side of the fight who just won't give up, or they'll try to like mix it and it wouldn't be the same.
Well, Disney's going to kill itself anyway. But
I'm still waiting for the day where I'm assuming those animation departments merge at some point.
oh, I'm just talking more like their desire to be so woke that they're too woke, and killing off their franchises. Like,
We're down to 2014 level evaluation or something, like a decade of like lost, like anything from evaluation, which is wild.
Yeah. And like that valuation was after they had acquired Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And was it just before the Warner deal?
No, Fox deal was in 15 or 16. So it was before that.
So yeah, it was just before the
before Fox and probably pre or post Star Wars, like right on the verge.
yeah.
That's like what the level we're down to. So like, and like they had Marvel, but Marvel is not the size it is now.
Yeah, the first Avengers had just come out. So you're down to that point. All because, you know, Little Mermaid had to be self-reliant or whatever. I don't know what they're doing with that stuff. But
Yeah. Let's jump to it. Start us out, AJ. It's time for strike check-in. I'm gonna start us out with a little thing. The biggest news we had over the last month. That's it. Is that basically at one point they all came to the table, and the union felt like it was not a fair deal brought to them, and it led to them walking out within 20 minutes of that negotiation. And that'd be objectively what happened, right? So they brought in one side thought it was an unfair deal, off the other side thought it was, walked out. And at this point, that is where we are at, legitimately, with no new updates since the last time we talked. I don't know if you have anything else to talk about within that.
nothing that I can freely talk about. It's a lot of conjecture that I'm hearing at this point. Like, you know, people, friends of mine that are in that are like, well, looks like I am, you know, some of them are going back to school. Some of them are like, you know, one of them just said screw it and left. Like, left Hollywood. They're not going to write like that anymore. I think they're back in the Carolinas. I haven't talked to them since they left, so I don't know. Can't remember if they went back home or if they moved somewhere else. But so yeah, it is starting to impact those that maybe don't have the ability to weather it, I guess.
At what point do you think we're gonna hit this content stoppage? Like at this point, we still have some of the movie theaters announcing stuff. We still have some of Netflix and Amazon, the streamers announcing stuff. But like at some point, they're gonna have to stop announcing stuff that's gonna come out. When do you think we're gonna hit that point where like, do you think in 6 months now Netflix just goes, we're out of stuff? Is that possible?
Netflix will just continue to buy comedy specials because those don't require writers, and you know the comedians are going to record those anyway, right? So it's not like it's content that they need to go create necessarily. It's much more of a, with those, like with a lot of the specials, Netflix tries to censor's not the right word, but it kind of is. Control, I guess, what stuff makes it to the special. Which, you know, as an artist, you don't like to see because, you know, especially in that case, right? Like they're buying your special. They're not hiring you to do a special. Right. You're already going to do that show. They just want you to record it now and put it out. So the fact that they think they can go in and, you know, edit it to the sense of, oh, we're just going to pull jokes and segments out of your special. Like, I want someone that does a Netflix special and their on-stage time is just under an hour, so Netflix can't cut anything because they're advertising an hour special.
Mm.
You know, and it's like you're putting Netflix on the hot seat in terms of, you know, hey, you're if you under deliver, people are gonna get pissed. So, yeah.
Yes. But yeah, that
As
is,
far as like scripted stuff, shit, dude, that's gonna come in the next by the end of the year.
because even like, God, all this is it's insane to me because like it's hard to tell. Like, I think there's some clause in beat. As so, I can say this because I'm not the person in the union, right? So, looking from the outside, I think there are some clauses in the union side that I can at least understand where there's pushback from the studio side, and other stuff I go, okay, some of this is like the like how greedy is greedy type stuff. But the issue is across the board, like this is gonna hurt so much more where I think the repercussions, I think no one's accounting for of like what's this gonna mean kind of long term of like if there's this much backup, it's hard for new actors to get in the pipeline because other ones still need to play catch up work. Kind of we can't do actors then to like upgrade them over time. Like all this stuff kind of happens, and you get a smaller pool happens. Like there's gonna be a lot of long term stuff that's not great.
I mean, you will see a lot of indie projects making their way to more more sources, which I think is great.
Mm-hmm.
Because indie projects should be able to do their thing. You know, indie movies is how we get like, you know, take your pick of like what like Mulholland Drive or shit. I mean Reservoir Dogs,
I was
right?
like Tarantino. So Tarantino comes Smith, your best indie examples of like you don't get those without those films.
Yeah. So.
And like that part I like a lot. Obviously, it's like the rise of indie stuff, kind of like small stuff. But like, I don't think there's enough of that funding going around. Then I think there's still those problems of like if you do those, like you only have one person who kind of has a name because then you can't afford the rest, or then kind of the people not make a living. Like there's still a lot of segments of those are the only films for funding.
Well, and I think like I believe it was Soderbergh directed an entire film shot on an iPhone over the course of like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll see more of that experimental filmmaking.
So it's so much cheaper than actual cameras that you could just do
Yeah,
it.
just true run and gun, like you know, 28 days later esque where we have 40 minutes to get this shot. So, you know, we have to set everything up super quick. We have literally one take and we got to nail it. So, you spend more time rehearsing, you spend more time getting the blocking down, you spend more time, you know, with the focus pullers to make sure that everything is good. Right? Like, this is how people learn. You know, it's the best training for new people in filmmaking, right? Like, to be on a project that is on such a tight deadline, you learn how to do everything so much faster. You learn how to do, you know, hey, here's how I need to set the camera up on the rig. You know, I need to learn how to do it because Jim, the AD, or Jerry, you know, the main camera op, is busy working on the mini cams, or, you know, they're busy doing this or they're busy doing that. So you learn with a lot of firsthand experience and you can greatly benefit from that.
You are correct. Okay. I want to show the first delay that we should have that realistically is probably because of this too, is because of Dune is now being delayed to next year in March 24th, I believe, as this is loading. March 15th. So it's March 15th. Dune is now coming out, pulling out of my birthday into whatever the hell that is. But I think what I was hearing, there were rumors there was some ADR they wanted to do still.
That's
And
the
they're
only
waiting to
thing
see.
that I could see, right? Like,
Because why else are they not like pushing it? Because they like always need like a week or two with these actors.
I mean, they literally, like, they were starting their ad campaign for the movie. Right? There were trailers already produced. Everything was ready to go. So the only thing I can think is that because of the strike, they can't get ADR or they can't get.
It has to be something that's so low lift. Like even if it's like put Zendaya in front of a green screen for 5 minutes, do some trailers and commercials for it in front of a football game, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like that's what I think of like you need her for 5 minutes. It's fine. The next day we can get her on a plane. She'll be here by noon. She'll out by 2.
Yeah.
But we'll see. After that, we have inflation news for apparently every streaming service, but really it is Disney Plus that stands out the most. It is rising 27%, going from $10.99 a month to $13.99 a month for US customers, and Hulu is going up 20% from $14.99 to $17.99 a month. I know we talk about Netflix starting this out, but Jesus Christ, how did Disney Plus do you think would go from the cheapest service out there to the top of the chain for cost now?
I mean, think about it this way, right? Like, we saw reports that Amazon was potentially in talks to buy ESPN. Right? So, you're trying to tell me that Amazon wouldn't jump on a deal where they can have all 3 services and have literally everything run through Amazon? Of course they would. Now, why is Disney doing this? I think they're doing it to just balance it out, right? Like, does it suck? Yes. Was it expected? Yes.
Yeah, it was expected. I don't think to this levels. I think I looked at the number and went, that's higher than I thought.
I don't know if I was too surprised with the amount. More out of, like, it was just coming in line with other streamers. Like, everyone is catching up to or surpassing.
So 15 was
HBO.
before. Do you think it's now 20 or 25 is kind of like that new base we can expect? Or I feel like 15 used to be that new baseline.
I will be curious to see what
Like where
Max
does it
does.
kind of stop at? Like it's gonna stop sooner or later. Like this is the point we're holding at for a bit.
Yeah. Like, wherever Max goes, I think is going to be the new ceiling, because they had always traditionally been the ceiling. HBO had.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my guess. Whatever HBO decides to do is where the either ceiling or floor will be set.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now with them offering the different tiers, I think that changes up a little bit. So,
You know, I think it's gonna be very interesting. I also generally don't like they're getting expensive. And what's interesting is we always talk about cable and the whole argument of like what's cheaper, more expensive. Basic cable packages start at like that 45 to 50 mark still.
yeah.
If we get to 2 streamers being the same as cable, I really wonder if that pendulum ever switches back.
Oh, I know people that are straight up like, this is the last year I'm doing whatever. Because I'm just going to get cable. It's cheaper. I'm like, yeah, it's cheaper because everyone's losing money to these streamers. So their solution is make cable cheap again. And then you're going to get screwed in 2 years anyway. So I guess it kind of doesn't really matter.
It depends, because like some of them, like Verizon, some of the phone companies now have cable plans that kind of mirror how their phone plans are structured, so they don't surprise Bell quite the same as like Comcast does, which at least I think would help that biggest pain point that cable provider would have of trying to recover.
Yeah, I could see. For sure.
We'll see.
I
I'm very curious if this anything ever switches back.
Yeah, I sent an invite, by the way.
Oh, I think it keeps rejecting it. Give me a second on that one. Anyway, AEW. We have AEW and WWE news. First, easy stuff. AEW, the Elite does renew with AEW. Just to kind of shout out because there were some rumors going around that might not happen. CM Punk's.
Anyone that thought there was a snowball's chance in hell that the Elite didn't re-sign worked themselves so hard. Like, you're trying to tell me these guys would give up ultimate control, right? Like they have with AEW. You're trying to tell me they'll give that up just to get a payday? No, these guys aren't about paydays. If they were, they would have been in WWE a hell of a long time ago.
Fair enough.
So, don't work yourself into a shoot, brother.
The other thing I wanted to shout out for just for AJ to laugh is I don't know if he knows CM Punk is now suspended again from AEW, corresponding with another backstage fight right before pay-per-view.
In a surprise to absolutely no one. The guy whose AEW tenure has literally been spent half either suspended or injured continues that trend.
Mm-hmm.
And in other news, a 40-something-year-old has the shallowest ego I've ever seen.
And lastly, we need to shout about AJ, the sad one that I figured you'd want to take the lead on.
Which
with
one?
the death of both. I guess we'll go. I was saying Bray Wyatt, but yes, we're gonna have both them take the lead on that.
Yeah, I mean, shit, how do you tackle the death of a guy that you saw his entire career? Right? Like, I saw his career from NXT. I saw his career through WWE. Shit, man, like, Wyndham Rotunda was one of the genuinely, like, if I had to say someone, like, you have to check out what this guy's doing, I think Wyndham's work as Bray Wyatt is one of maybe 3 or 4. Then I'd be like, you have to see what this dude's doing. He unfortunately passed due to some heart issues. Super sad story. I mean, it's never easy to see someone he was 34, 35?
35, I believe.
Super young, with a family and several kids. I believe it was 2 or 3. Just, you know, your heart just gets ripped out from your chest because it's like, you know, we had it with Brody Lee, right? Like, I thought maybe there's a chance that we go a little bit without having to deal with this. And we went, what, a year and a half?
Mm-hmm.
And then to lose Terry Funk as well, like, one of the true innovators in wrestling. Like, major impact on too many people to even really like quantify his full impact on the business. Something we still feel, you know, every day somebody in the business is doing something that Funkster started. And I really hope, you know, LA Knight had that kind of famous feud with Bray Wyatt. I really hope he leans more into that. Because if there's anyone that is god tier on the mic, it's Miz and LA Knight. And both of them just did battle with Wyndham. He also got a feel for his brother, right? Like, I think their dad passed within the past 10 years, IRS. I believe he passed fairly recently, so it's like he lost his dad, now he lost his brother. It's got to be rough. Never want to be in that guy's shoes. So.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll tell you what,
yeah.
though, dude. There is a hell of a battle royale going on upstairs, though. Like, you think about all the guys now that could be in that rumble in the sky. Shit, we got, you know, Andre, you got Wyatt, you've got Funk, you've got Antonio Inoki. Like, you go down the list of the greats that, like, Roddy Piper. I know people don't like his name, but Chris Benoit, like, you know, the talent that we have lost within the past 30 years is, I genuinely think the business will never get talents like that again. Because they were literally one of one. You know, nobody was doing it quite like they did. And you can't even, like, you can't replicate The Fiend. Right? Like, you will never be able to get that again. The Fiend was a project from Bray that he took just by the balls, basically, and made it his own and took off. And we got a $5,000 belt out of it, too. Which is still my favorite thing on the store. I'm curious how many of those they sold.
It's gonna be a lot, I feel like.
Oh, especially now. Right, like...
Just, yeah. We have 2 trailers to talk about real fast. If you like either, both Loki Season 2 trailer dropped, and today the Ferrari trailer dropped. The one that stands out to me, I think, is obviously Ferrari. I think it's going to be an interesting kind of story, especially recently with us having, obviously, the Ford versus Ferrari kind of stuff. Kind of like,
Well,
I'd be interested to see how different he is too.
Dude, they literally lucked into it. Ferrari just won the 24-hour Le Mans this year. Like, Ferrari is, other than their F1 team being absolute dog shit, Ferrari is sitting higher than they've probably ever sat. So, definitely
I think it'll be great.
A great position for them to be in.
And then, I know MCU isn't usually a thing. I generally think Loki Season 1 was a great film, a great TV show, and I'd be curious kind of Loki Season 2 kind of can stand up to that. Especially because it seems like kind of its own thing in the MCU, so I'd be kind of curious this long away from since it came out.
Yeah.
So, we will see. Jumping to games. Let's start with the one I thought was most interesting in our discussion of the Epic Game Store. Epic Game Store announced if you make your game exclusive on their platform for the first 6 months, during that time it will be 100% rev share to you, which I think is a very interesting way to launch your game at low risk. That I'm very interested in why Epic's doing this. Like 6 months is a good chunk of time, but like it seems like a pretty big cost, or could be, on Epic's end if a game actually blows up too. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
I mean, think about it this way, right? Like, they're doing this solely to get people that, you know, even though they get crazy splits on Epic already, like, Steam has kind of made it, you know, made it less of a, oh yeah, well, I'm doing it just for the money. Like, Steam has come down on their stuff too. So you're like, okay, cool. I can make money on Steam too. The install base is 100 times to 1,000 times bigger than Epic's. And as such, I only need to sell, you know, I need to be on the, I need to be on the front page for 4 hours instead of 4 weeks. So, with this move, I want somebody big to come at them and call their bluff. Right, like I want, what would be a good example? I want 2K to come with NBA 2K and go, all right, it's exclusive to the Epic Games Store, and we're taking all of the revenue because that's the deal.
That would be interesting if someone does.
And then, I mean,
like, they would still get the tail revenue, but yeah, that'd be very interesting if.
yeah, what would that, like...
Would that work out? You know what though? It wouldn't cost Epic that much. It would cost them the amount to deliver the game. So we'd cost that at what, 50 cents a user?
Yeah, probably.
So, we'll say 10 million downloads. So it's a $5 million marketing stunt.
Yeah, but it's a $5 million marketing stunt that you could lose out.
No. So that's potential revenue. Yes, you lose out on a ton.
Yeah.
But if it's something revenue you were not getting either way, you weren't getting the revenue, so it didn't matter. You didn't lose it. So it's a $5 million marketing stunt. $5 for a marketing stunt isn't that high when you consider stuff like Super Bowl commercials and it's stuff that you hear in other corporations doing.
Yeah, from that standpoint, it's cheap.
And imagine, of those now gained 10 million users, 1% of them are brand new and stay on your platform. That's 100,000 users, $5 million. So it's a $50 per head, and like user acquisition.
I mean, let's be real. People playing 2K already play Fortnite, so...
But like, you say that, but I'm saying, what if you just gain enough new ones? Because there's gonna be someone new there. Like, that's what you have to look at. What is the new head count at the end that you gained? That's
potentially, but like sports games are the weird ones where people will play those and only those. So it doesn't really matter what platform they're on, per se. Just that they can get the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll play that until the next one comes out. So, yeah, sports games would be kind of interesting to see them do that. Obviously, the best one would be to have Rockstar call the bluff. GTA 6 exclusive to Epic for 6 months. All the revenue that they lose.
Again, if they weren't earning it anyway, they're not losing it. That's what I find interesting.
I mean, Rockstar is going to put that game out everywhere.
Imagine the inverse world where they didn't. That's what I'm saying. Like, that'd be an interesting, like, a game that last time they didn't, and now they're getting it.
Oh, I think they learned with the debacle that is the Rockstar Games launcher that people don't care just as long as it's not RGL. No play it on
Yeah.
Epic. Like, you know, they don't care if it's Epic or Steam. They want a launcher that works. Are you in?
Nope.
All right, I'm inviting you now.
Keeps rejecting. Okay. So I hear it. And at the same time, it's not showing me. Oh, there it is. I see it now. Accept. Okay. Yes. So yeah, but yeah, that's the big news there. MW3 is officially announced, so we know Modern Warfare 3 is coming. Doesn't shock anyone.
Surprised absolutely no one.
It's apparently just basically, it's interesting because Modern Warfare 3 is a remake of Modern Warfare 2 from last gen. Not confusing in the slightest.
I will say, I was very intrigued to check out Modern Warfare 2 on PC. Partially because of that Netherlands demo that they always showed, where it was photorealistic. Like, to me, what did we just? Oh, the strong points of this reboot are the missions where it looks like stuff from Live League. Right, like the mission in London, right, where you invade the house at night. Like that mission alone is enough to. It was basically enough to get me to buy the game, right? Like, that was the one mission I was really looking forward to playing. Played it, and then played it again on Extreme with no HUD. And I was like, damn. If somebody did it, I'm sure, but like, the first week of that game coming out, somebody could have recorded an Extreme playthrough, no HUD, no captions or anything, and uploaded that, and gotten people to think it was real footage. So, they do have those cool showpieces. That's about it for me. Like, there's really nothing else to those games. Because I don't care about, like, Warzone or the multiplayer.
So, I want to shout out, because we made a comment about it last week, that was funny. Star Citizen officially is crossing the $600 million mark in fundraising, and somehow still exists in the world.
The crazy thing is, I forget what amount it was. It might have been 300 million. And there was an interview with Chris Robert, the guy behind it. And he's like, you know, every dollar that we raise from Kickstarter, we're putting towards the game. And I'm like, how are you making a $300 million game?
600, you mean?
Well, now it's 600, but
How? Like, I want this thing to come out one day just so, like, the story can end. Like, I want to know how the book ends.
oh yeah.
But yeah, that's it there. Sony has officially announced the PlayStation Remote Portable. What are your thoughts on that? For $199, you can stream your PS5 to this device via a Wi-Fi or remote connection. Has to be 5 megabytes or more. I think it's pretty cool. $200 seems high to me though, for just what basically amounts to a screen.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm worried about.
I would think more like 100 to 150 would be an ideal price point.
Yeah, that could be a great price point, like 150.
So we'll see how it does. It comes out later this year. Thing I want to shout is officially that Turtles game we talked about a few months ago is real, announced by THQ Nordic. So TMT, The Last Ronin, is officially in development. It's being developed by Black Forest Games, who recently did Destroy All Humans. I think it's going to be interesting.
I did not hear good things about.
But I think it's really interesting. It's the first basically AAA budgeted TMNT games since like the GameCube era. So I'll be curious kind of how it actually does in this era. It seems like we take like budget games and licensing games more seriously than we did back then. So maybe we could do okay things with this.
Maybe.
So we will see at some point in the near future. And finally, sadly, BioWare has announced 50 people being laid off effective immediately. And they are basically discussing how Mass Effect is still in early development and they're working on the most recent Dragon Age. Oh,
I was
BioWare.
shocked when it was like effective immediately. Because I'm
Mhm.
like, well, I guess depending on where the office is, if it was in Canada, I don't know if the Warren Act is a thing there. But it's like, I thought they needed notice. You know, I thought like, and maybe it's small enough, like maybe 50 people is small enough that the Warren Act doesn't apply. But
We will see. Alright. Games coming out for the rest of the year. Starfield comes out as this comes out. It's finally happening. Reviews happen tomorrow as we're talking. What do you think it scores? What's your final guess?
for Starfield,
Mm-hmm.
8, 5 to 9.
Okay. So I'm kind of feeling too, like, I don't think it's gonna be a 10, but I think they know that everything kind of rides on this.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Mortal Kombat 1 comes out September 19th. People are having it in their hands. Looks like the footage keeps posting online. Looks like Mortal Kombat's as good as ever. We have Lies of P coming out soon on September 19th. Also, Payday 3, Our Game of the Fall, coming out September 21st. AC
Damn
Mirage
straight.
comes out on October 5th. Spider-Man 2 comes out on October 20th. This is a stacked fall. Super Mario Bros. Wonder, October 20th. City Skylines, October 24th. MGS Volume 1, October 24th. The Robocop game, which looks really cool, come out November 2nd. MWV November 10th. And Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, December 7th.
Did you ever think that you would be excited about an Avatar game?
No, not in the slightest.
But you kind of are, right? Like,
I think it's gonna be interesting, especially if they do it like how close is it to Far Cry versus The Division from like a single player to not? How does the story work? How does it matter?
yeah.
So we'll see. And now it's time for movie club. This is a really weird month for movies, to say the least.
You don't
The
say.
big three I found, I'm not kidding you, are The Equalizer 3, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, or Expendables 4. Yes, those are the three biggest films of the month. Them all coming up back to back is the most wild thing to me.
Yeah.
Which one stands out to you?
I think Equalizer.
Equalizer it is. Seven,
Like,
you heard
I
him.
just want to see the finale of that. Because like the first one was such a cool idea. The second one has a really great final combat sequence. The fight on the Cape while the hurricane's coming in. And I'm like, dude, like, they should have stopped it at 2. They didn't need to make a third one.
And it's out effective the first, so everyone go check it out.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that is it. Everyone, go enjoy your evening. Peace, love, and prosper.
Something like that. Have no fear, those watching. We are still live. Just doing our thing.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nothing but chicken wing. Alright, so we've got these two figured out. We've got one more thing for, like, two guys that are wanted
Mm-hmm.
on an island that we can go do. And the nice part is now we have two treasure chests, so we can... Oh, hey. Where's our ship? Okay, it's over there. You want to fight a skeleton ship? In the
What?
storm? Yeah, there's a skelly ship right here. Did you get kicked or are you on the boat?
I'm on the boat.
Okay. I wonder if you got kicked for idle.
I wonder. No, it's still there.
No, you. Like when you got kicked, I wonder if you got kicked for idle.
Oh.
Oh shit. Fire. The boat got struck by lightning.
What are the odds?
Pretty fucking good. There's a lot of metal on this boat.
Do you think it actually matters? Like, do they design it what matters?
Yes, because if you wear a metal belt, you're more likely to get struck by lightning.
Hmm.
So they do take some of that stuff into account. Alright, let's get out of the storm and find the two dudes that we need to kill. I'm pretty sure while you were coming back in, a shrouded ghost megalodon popped up, which is like the
Whoa.
rarest megalodon. And like, I'm trying to do the quest, you know, the treasure. So I don't want to go fight the Meg, but it'd be pretty dope to do that. I was hoping it would stick around, but it didn't. Can you get me a bearing to where we need to go for these guys? We need to go to Booty Isle.
No, I'm looking.
It's got to be close because I picked it up on one of these islands.
Oh, I see it. Go a little more right.
North, south, east, west. Do we go west?
Go southwest.
Alright. Turning towards southwest. You're on southwest.
Stay straight. I'm watching the map.
Don't worry, man. I don't think you have to worry about me turning to the dark side. Pretty sure I'll always be straight. Is it off to our left?
It will be, yeah.
Like immediately?
Not yet. No.
Okay, yeah, we got a ways to go. Let's cut this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Although for being accurate, it should be pronounced key. It should be Cutlass Key. So apparently a 100-year-old tree fell over at the governor's mansion in Florida.
I heard that. From the hurricane winds.
Yeah, I was like, well, it's been 125 years since a storm went through there, so sounds about right. It was that tree's time.
Southeast.
Yeah, there was a rock that had to go around, so.
Okay.
I know I had to start cutting back. I was looking at a 538 thing about the debate.
Okay.
It was very interesting. Because... What's up? Where do we need to go?
No, go on.
Oh. How big of a boost Nikki Haley got.
Oh, I did see that.
It was
She
crazy.
had 10% in some opening states.
Yeah. Well, and there was like a chart of like, how do you think they did? Do you think they did the best or do you think they did the worst? And Haley's best bar is like, I think third highest. But her worst bar is the lowest. So it's like people were satisfied and to an extent probably happy with what she did.
The Jimmy performance surprised me how well it was.
I just don't know how anyone's going to take that Indian dude seriously when he said climate change is a hoax. Like, dude, literally everyone knows it's fact. Are we looking dead ahead?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're coming into the fog bank, so...
Should be a smaller island.
Yeah, there's a small island off to our west. And then there's an island directly south of us.
Directly to our... I think it's our west. Directly to our west.
Okay.
Like you should be passing it.
Oh, that thing that's directly to our south, I think, is another one of those castles.
The front of our ship's about to hit Booty Isle.
We're still a little ways from it. Yeah, that thing to the south was one of those castles that we did the last time we played this. When you decided to provoke the guys and we ended up losing everything. Alright, there are 2 captains on this island, supposedly. So make sure you're stocked up on ammo and get some food. Take either the 2 small cooked fish or the cooked snake that are all the way on the
Okay.
right. Because those will give you a boost if you eat them. Don't eat the trophy one. The other, there's a snake that there's 1 piece of. That's uncooked, so don't eat that. Unless you won't get sick. Alright, boys, follow me. Since you're covered in gold, I'm going to lead you to the water's edge. Actually, did I position the boat in a way that we could hit these guys with the cannons? I don't think so.
Not quite.
You gotta shoot them. Did anyone drop ammo? No. Oh, there's a snake there. That would not have been fun. Come here, boys. We got ghosts. Maybe Maybe the ghosts will help kill off a few of them. Where in the Carl Pilkington are these captains?
Hmm.
Do we seriously have to vanquish everyone first? Do you have a shot left?
Nope.
Cool. What? I got credit for killing you. Get out of here. Oh, I have one left. Alright, I'm out of shots. Alright, here's Stowaway Thomas. Great, and he's a Goldie, so I'll go back and get ammo. Watch out, they're coming at you.
Mm.
Alright, well, I found a solution for the meantime.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm just burning them.
You killed him.
I killed a couple of them, yeah, with the firebomb. Oh, did we finally kill the captain? Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. And drop that. Goes ammo pouch, so we can kill off these dudes. Here, dipshit, dipshit, dipshit. Walk a step further, you dumb fuck. Come on. Come on. Come on. Shit, I missed that. We got ghosts. So you need your lantern to kill them.
Okay.
Or we need to start a fire. Where are you on the island? Or are you dead?
Yeah, I'm just coming back now.
Okay. I'm about to die. Oh, son of a bitch. Yeah, there we go. Well, the good news is we got one of the captains.
Mm-hmm.
Now we just need to entice the other one to come up. I think we've got more of those fire bombs on the ship if we want to use them.
Yes.
I'll grab them. Let's see if this actually works. I think it does. Oh, we got a group that's coming to kill us.
Yeah.
Bro, you're on fire. How are you not?
I thought they didn't like fire.
Let's see if they speak Spanish. Okay. I'm gonna be nowhere near where you're at.
We're gonna be.
Good question. The boat's gone, so. Tell you what, why don't we just call it there? Because I'm never
Okay.
gonna find you. I mean, I can find you, but
Sounds good.
that will
That'll
do
do
it for our 5th anniversary stream.
Woo.
Thank you to everyone that made this possible. Yeah, keep listening. We'll keep
We'll
doing
back
it.
next week with actual the new thing.